Hey everybody, welcome back to Lemon Branch DIY, your DIY home fixes that save you time and money. Today's project, I'm going to show you how to do an automatic drip system in my flower pot. Stick with me and I'm going to show you how. Okay, you guys, I have this amazing pot full of hibiscus and hydrangea, but you know, it needs a lot of water, especially these hydrangea. And so if I'm not out here watering all the time, it makes it really difficult to keep them alive, especially when I do a lot of travel and we're not always here. Then we have to rely on neighbors to come over, all that kind of stuff. So we're going to eliminate that by putting in an automatic drip system. Now, this does not require any special tools or any special knowledge. All right, so this is the pot that we're going to be working on, and you can see I have beautiful hydrangea in the middle, and I've got these two hibiscus that we just got planted. Now, like I said, it does require a lot of water each and every day, right? So what we have, and this is called a garden irrigation system, and it's basically a drip system, but we're going to combine it with this B-hyve. It's a Bluetooth, so I get to control it with my phone, but it's a timer, and it's super easy. You just set the clock, you set the time, you set how long you're gonna have it go, and then how often, and you can either do it auto or manual. It's a really super good, easy to use timer. And that just hooks up to your hose. Right out of the hose, we're gonna end up with this garden irrigation. Let me show you what this garden irrigation is. Okay, I just wanted to show you what all comes in this kit. It's a pretty extensive kit, and this is what I love about it. So you get a whole bunch of the 1/2-inch tubing plus a whole bunch of the 1/4-inch tubing. So the 1/2 inch, you get 33 feet of that big pipe, and then you get 197 feet of that other 1/4 inch. And then just look at all the fittings that you get. So you are able to do a whole bunch of stuff. Plus, each one of these is different sprinkler heads. So they're all quick connect, and I will show you how easy it is to just connect all of these. So they've got a different head here, so that comes out in just an even spray pattern. And then you have these other little sprinklers that you can see come out in all those different holes, so you can pinpoint, you know, different spray pattern. So you can see how many of these that they include. Tons of T's to make it all work. These here I like too, because this is just like a drip system. They give you a bunch of these, so you can just hook these up and throw these underneath plants. These ones obviously have the spike, so you can put them into the ground and they are actual like sprinklers, whereas this is more like a drip system. So then you have just all these fittings that connect. Now what's cool about these are, if you've seen another video of mine, and I'll leave a link to that video on how to add an existing sprinkler head, how to add a sprinkler head to an existing line. And you can see inside this, they have these little shark teeth. So these are quick connect, and I love these because all you do is you just slip them on. Once you get them past those teeth, it creates a seal, and the tubing cannot come back out. But with these that have the blue, if you push in on them like that, it will release the teeth and you can pull the tube out. So it's not like it's a one and done. So you stick it on and it stays. You push it down, and you can pull it out. So that's something I love about this whole quick connect system. So that kind of shows you what these are. These are little ends. So if you want to terminate and not use, for example, if you don't want to use that spigot, you can put a couple of these in, and then that would obviously plug up the hole, so it does not need to be used, if that makes sense. So they give you a lot of different options, a lot of things that are really cool. They give you some Teflon tape. The only thing that you need that's additional is a cutter tool, and I love this cutter tool. It's a multi-cut 4-inch cutter. I will leave a link in the description for this, and I'll show you why I love using this. It's super easy to cut the tubing. Okay, before we get started, I like to take all of the tubing, the pipe, and lay it out on the sidewalk or your driveway and let it sit in the sun for at least an hour to really heat up, because as you can see, there's a natural bend in those from how it was all coiled up. So it has a memory to it. So we want to be able to get that memory to relax. That way, if it's nice and warm, we'll be able to keep the pipe straight. Okay, so we're back. It's been about an hour, and you can just see how much more straight the pipe is. So it really gave it a chance to kind of warm up and relax and get rid of that memory. What we're going to start with is this timer, because that's where everything begins at the hose, right? So all we need to do is you have to put 2 AA batteries into the back, and so it just kind of slides in, I believe like this, and we've got power. So there, it's lit up. And now the first thing let's do is let's hurry and set the time. So we'll go ahead and set it. It's pretty simple. You just use the dial. So it is currently 10:30. So this is how easy it is to set this up. This is super easy. Okay. Now it's 10:30, so then we can set the start time of when we want zone 1 to go, which is all going to be the same. So the start time, I like to have them go in the morning. So I'll put 6 a.m. And how long, I'm not sure yet, because I don't know how much these sprinklers are going to do, but I'm going to put on 10 minutes. So we'll have it go for, well, let's start out with 5 minutes, because I don't know how much water it's going to actually need. And then how often, I'm going to say once every day, because you can do it 2 times a day. So see how it says every? So I'm going to say every day. Let's go once every day. And then the auto and manual is right here. And I think that's all we got to do. But let's go get it set up now. Okay, I just want to show you kind of the overall layout of what we've got. So the hose is right there. Okay. And so I've got about 30 feet to come along the edge of the house here, and then around the front here into the flower bed. So I'm going to just kind of snake it along the brick here. And if you want, you can actually bury it, but since I don't want this to be permanent, I'm just going to lay it along the brick there. It should be fine up and out of the way. But this is where we're going to hook it to the hose. Okay, so now that we've got the timer hooked up to the hose, let me show you what we've got. So I want to be able to use the hose spigot. So I just have one of these 2-ways. It's like a little 2-way T, and you can turn these on and off independently from each other. As you can see, there's the little valves here. So once we turn you can turn the water on just like that and leave it on, because now you can control it with these guys here. So if I want the hose, I can turn the hose on, and then this is just going to always stay on. So just like that. I don't know if you saw it come through there. Then it just turned off. So we'll figure out how to use this here in a minute. But if I do a manual, I'm sure I can set the minutes for like 1 minute, turn it on, and there it goes. It turns on, and then I can turn it off probably, just like that. So that's pretty cool. So I can control everything just right here. So this is a really nice display. I can do a bunch of stuff, but now let's go ahead and start. The whole project needs to stem from here. So what we want to do first is we want to put this on and get this nice and tight, because once that's on nice and tight, then we'll be able to put the pipe in. And if you don't put that on first, then you'll be twisting the entire pipe. So what we'll do is you just take the pipe, and now you just slide it right in, just like that, to where it's tight. And now if you try and pull down on it, it's in there, it won't come out. So that's all we got to do. Now for this, I don't want to bend it too tight, because I want to have a nice, you can put an elbow in there, you know, you can put one of the fittings there, but every time you put a fitting, you'll start losing pressure. So where I can, I'm just going to leave it just like this. And honestly, this is the side of the house, so no one's going to even see it. So we got the hose hooked up. We'll test the hose. Okay, so the hose is working. Turn that off. That is now turned on. So now let's go ahead and start working on the flower box. So you can see I just kind of laid it up against there. Now if you don't like that, you can totally bury that, but I am just going to leave it exposed, since I will probably be moving this pot at one point. So now it's just a matter of starting to just hook some of the sprinklers up and testing it. Now are going to make the turn here and go tight over to the flower box. I don't like how that's just kind of exposed. I think it's a tripping hazard. So I am going to pull that a little bit tight, and we're going to put in our first fitting. Even though this kit does not come with an elbow, it comes with, which is like a 90 degree, it comes with a T. So this 1/2 inch, I'm going to use this to my advantage, and we're going to create elbow out of that, so I don't have to go buy anything. Okay, so I'm just gonna get this nice and tight, line it up just exactly where I would want it to be. So as tight as I can get it along there. There's a little gap, I'm okay with that. But then what we're gonna do is we're gonna just basically create a T out of this fitting just like this. So see how I can create the 90 degree just like that? Now, I know that we're only gonna just cut the pipe and then fit it together like that, right? But what is cool is I can create a 90 degree out of that because they include this little stopper. So I'm gonna put this little stopper in and just push it right in like that. And now that plugged up this side, and now I've basically got an elbow out of it. So now all I gotta do is, so now I'm gonna just take my cutters, these fancy tools, this fancy tool, and once I measure up exactly where I want it to go, which is about right here, I'm going to go ahead and cut it right like that. And this is what I like about these cutters. They're nice and clean. Now watch, you can just go right through. Look how fast that is, and it leaves a nice, perfect cut. So like I said, I'll leave a link in the description down below for these cutters. They're awesome. Okay, now all we got to do is take this pipe now. If I can get it with one-handed, it's kind of tricky, but now all we got to do is just fit these two pipes together like that, and then we'll hook the other one up just like that. So see how that will go together just like that, and then I'll get them all tight and we'll pull it tight. So I can actually undo that plug and run a whole other line into this flower bed if I ever wanted to. So I'm just gonna leave it just like that, and now I've got a nice 90 degree angle, and we're heading right to the flower pot right here, where we can now feed some water up into the flower bed itself. There's a couple ways that we can feed the water up into the actual pot itself. Now, if this is going to be permanent, you could do a small little hole down here, which would act as a drain as well, and then you could put the pipe straight in and then have it feed up into, up into the dirt and have your irrigation buried in the dirt. So yeah, you definitely can put that up into the pot. Like I said, you can just drill either underneath or go through the side and then just kind of run the pipe up through into the pot that way. I am not going to do that. A couple reasons. First of all, it is very cold here in the springs and in the fall, and so I have to be able to take these plants and put them in the garage, otherwise they will freeze. And so since it's still spring, we're still getting some really cold. Some of the nights can dip down into the low 30s, and so I'm just worried about losing some of the plants. So I like to be able to take it in and out of the garage. Okay, so what I absolutely love about this particular kit is it gives you a lot of these fittings. So I'm able to manipulate all these fittings and create basically it's a big fitting for just becoming a 90 degree angle. But what's nice is if you did run this, look at all the spigots you have that you could run into this flower bed here. You'd be able to do all kinds of flowers in this flower bed. The main line will come in, hook to there, and then I'm gonna run this little 1/4 inch or 1/4 inch pipe to the back. Now once I get it to the back, I've got these other cool fittings. The kit came with a whole bunch of these T's. There again, I put another plug right here, and then I'm gonna tilt it like that and run the pipe straight up the back and into the pot there. So that's where I'm at. Let's just hook this up and we'll go to the next step. So I've done quite a bit, and I just kind of want to show you kind of how I've got it pieced together. So one of the issues I was having is I wanted to be able to, create lots of different things off of this system. So like I said, I showed you how you have all of these different offshoots from these T's. You can do so many things with it. Run all the different lines off into this flower bed, whatever. But here's what I did to kind of hide it into this pot. So we just found some black tape. It doesn't look 100% amazing, but it at least hides it to get it up into the pot. Now, check this out. I've got it coming up into a T, and then I've got it branched around, and you can see how you just can tee off and then run it to these sprinklers. Now, each one of these is on a spike, and you just spike it right in, and then you're able to adjust the flow by going like this, and I'll turn it on in just a minute. So I have some blue ones, I've got some red ones, and it just depends on what you're looking for as far as the water distribution or how you want the sprinklers to actually look. But let me show you what I did. So I got it, I branched it off and went around. So I've got some into the hydrangeas there. I've got a sprinkler head there. I've got another one inside here. I did a little bit of overkill probably, but that's because I don't know if we're gonna add more flowers or not. But you can see I've got another one here. And then you can see me bringing it around here. And then I've got another blue one up underneath. And then I can continue to add more and more as we add flowers. So as you can see, the hydrangeas are a little bit droopy. They need water. So see how those pink ones are already starting to tell you that they need water. Every day hydrangeas need water. So this is my setup right here. And I'm really excited about how this turned out. So I currently have this thing set up to where in 17 hours, it's going to go off. So I've got it set to go every 6 o'clock a.m. So the next start time, it's telling me 17 hours. So I can see that the auto is turned on. But let's say I want to do a manual right now because I want to show you how to do it. So I'm going to hit the button because I'm on auto and manual. So we just hit the button. I'm going to tell it how many minutes I want it to run. So we'll tell it 2 minutes, and then you just hit the button again. See the little drop turned on. Now you just heard it click. Now the water is turned on. So now we've got the water turned on, and I'm going to show you how cool this is. So see, that's what the red ones look like. So you can increase or decrease just like that. And I don't want this one too much because this is going to be for the hibiscus. But then you see the blue one there. That's a different style. So I can increase or decrease that one as well. So I can really crank it out or crank it in. So see how I can just get a small little guy there. I'm going to open this one a little bit more because that's going to do the hydrangea. So I've got those different kinds for different purposes. This one's not as much, so I did a different one there. This here, you can see I've got another blue one right there. See, I've got two of them. There's 2 blue ones for the middle of the hydrangeas. Then we've got another red one here, and then another blue one over on this side here. Right, all these dang leaves get in the way. There we go. And then that. So this may be a little bit of overkill, but that's just demonstrating what you can do with that system. So I didn't use very much of that system. As you can see, I have got bags of parts that I can continue to run this into all the different flower beds, do a whole bunch of other things. So I love this kit for all that you get. Okay, I wanted to show you how cool these fittings are and how this pipe system works. So if you've got the pipe and you've got all these fittings, I want you to show you that you can change this at any time. So you take the pipe and you just slide it into the fitting like that. Now it can't come out, right? But it's not stuck in there. This is what's so brilliant about this particular system. So you take this, you slide it in, it doesn't come out, right? But you just take the blue tab, see that blue tab? You just pull back on it, and as you pull back on it, you can undo the tube. It is so brilliant. Same with the blue right here for the 1/2-inch pipe. See how you can just pop it in? That's how you release it to pop it back out. Now, same with these little guys. You have the same thing. Once you get it pushed in, it pops out the little ring. So you can't see it until you push it in. That little ring, you push it in, pops it out. It's so brilliant, you guys. You can interchange this all the time. Let's say some of those sprinklers I don't want and I want to go to just one of these little drip heads. So you just pull that thing off. So if this was this is the T, right, coming off of the line, you can just stick this right in. And then you've got this kind of setup. You don't like that? You just pull it back off and you put a new sprinkler head on and you just keep going and going, whatever. So very versatile. Love this system. Okay, you guys, so there you have it. Thanks for joining us on this one. This is one of my favorite systems. It's a very simple hack and it's kind of fun to do because it's kind of like a puzzle. You can put it together and like I said, there's a million different ways to do it, but this is a really easy way to do it. There's no tools really involved. And it's just, it goes together so easy. So now that you know how to put in a drip system, check out my other video that I did on how to add sprinklers to an existing line in your lawn. Very helpful and easy to do as well. So thanks again for joining us on this today, and we will see you on the next project.